Hello, I'm Jim Frankenfield, and this is another video from my tutoring work. And this is a bit different. I'm not going to solve any problems or do any instruction in math or physics here. What I'm going to do is demonstrate one of the resources I have, which I can offer to students and also to non-students. If somebody wants to have me set up problem sets for them for exercise and practice, I could do that, whether you're a student or not. If you're a student, that's included in whatever fee you're paying me for the tutoring. I set it up to teach classes, and I use it in classes, and of course, it's just part of the tool for that. But if you're on a topic and you need some practice problems and you want to use this set, and you're not a student or a tutoree, you can contact me, and I can set up an account for you for a small fee, and then set up problem sets on whatever topics you want for additional small fees. And that's not including the tutoring. I just can set these up. You can go through them with your own tutor. You can do them on your own, or you can come back to me with questions and pay me some tutor if you need to, but you don't have to. So this is a WebWork system, and it's created by the Mathematical Association of America, MAA. It's pretty unique among tutors. It's commonly used in universities, and it was used in universities for quite some time now. And I'm seeing more and more high schools use this. I think one reason it's not common in tutoring is that it's not that easy to set up and maintain. And there seem to be 10 million STEM tutors these days, and especially math tutors. But I'm not sure how many of them actually have the skills to install and maintain and operate the system, which isn't that hard. If you have some computer skills, you need to know Unix, and you need to be able to do some troubleshooting. But most people either don't need it, or even if they need it, they'd have a lot of trouble setting it up. And I may be open in the future to letting other tutors and teachers use this installation. I'm not gone there yet because I'm a little concerned about what might be involved in supporting those people. And I don't know that I want to offer too much level of support if they can't figure out how to use it on their own. So let's show you what this looks like, and we'll come back to it in a minute. And I've got several parts here, but this is the entry screen. It's WebWork, and you'll see different entry screens depending how different institutions have designed it. After this brief introduction about installing it and whatnot, I'll have 4 parts. If you're a student and you want to see how it works and you're interested in whether or not you want to use it, you can go to part 3, which will show the student access to problem sets. Part 1 will be how to create classes, which is an admin function. Part 2 will be how to create problem sets, and you'll see the vast library of problems on almost any mathematical topic you can think of. And it's been used at this point in all kinds of classes from high school through graduate level. So I'll show you the problem library and how I select problems. And then part 3 will be show you how students log in and what they see when they use it. And the last part will be on statistics and tracking, and you can see how I use that. So a lot of people that view this may just want to go to part 3. If you're a tutor yourself or you want to see what's behind the scenes, follow along for the whole thing. To install it, ideally you need to use Ubuntu, and that's what I have. I have a DigitalOcean droplet server dedicated to this. The cheapest one is probably not adequate. There's a $5 server, which could do a whole lot of things. You can run a whole lot of websites, but you can't run WebWork. You need at least a $10 second addition to the memory and power, because it's a pretty large system. So you can go to DigitalOcean, get a $10 droplet, and go to work on this. If you have some other system, it should be, in theory, possible to do this. I also have worked in Debian, and most of all for 20-some years in FreeBSD. But the instructions are for Ubuntu. And if you're able to follow the instructions exactly and very detailed and use Ubuntu, you can set this up with minimal problems. You do need to have some troubleshooting ability. If you do one little thing wrong, you're going to have a hard time figuring out how to fix that or what it is if you're not familiar with Unix. It also uses another feature which is optional but worthwhile called LightP. Let me write that down. So what you use is Ubuntu, and then there's Light, kind of a takeoff on HTTP, which is the web protocol. And it's not that hard to install Lighty, they call it. But the trick with that comes when you get a security certificate so that you have HTTPS. And doing that with both the regular service and the Lighty service running is a little tricky, and auto-renewing that certificate is tricky. So there's a bit of behind-the-scenes work involved in doing this. If you've been working on Unix for a long time, it's not a big deal. And of course, institutions have departments of people that just do this. That's their main job. You could probably count on taking a day to set this thing up. It could take the good part of a day if you've never done it before. So that is the background on it and setting it up. And once you do that, let's see, go on to part one here. Okay, so in this part, I'm going to create a course, and then the next part, we'll put some problems into it. So I need to go to course administration and log in, and I need to add a course. And I'm just going to call it demo. I'll delete it later anyway. I need to add my password again. I need to and it doesn't care much what the email address is. I don't think this installation is set up to deal with email anyway. Anyone that wants to email me directly has to do that. So let's try adding that. So here's my demo course, and let's see, I can go to the class list, and this is where I can add a student. So right now the only student is admin, which is an existing account. I can add a new one. I don't have much reason to do this right now, but I can make a course for one student, add that student, and then that's their account, and I can make problems specifically for them. Or I can make a course for an actual course and put all of the students in there. And I just do this manually. Of course, an institution has all kinds of automatic things, so the class registration list gets dumped into WebWork automatically. And I don't need anything that fancy. So we have, let's see, homework sets editor. I don't have any homework sets yet, but you can edit them here. I'm going to create one in a minute. And I'm going to go to the library browser. Okay, so this is actually the next part. So that was how you create a course. You can add students to the course, one or more. Now I need to add problem sets to this course so that whoever is logged in can access that. And this needs to be a teacher account. Right now I'm still using my admin account. I could create a teacher account. I could create an account for you. You could be a teacher, and then you could be doing these next steps. And you would log in and get back to where we were. So here we are, and I need to create a new set. So let's call this, I'm just going to call this demo. create a new set. And now I'm going to add problems to that. And this is where you can really see how powerful this system is. Subject. Here's all the subjects at the highest level. Cryptography, real analysis, financial math. Generally, I'm dealing with calculus, algebra, trigonometry, the top ones. But if you get more specialized, there are problems down here in even some engineering ones. There is also a Kappa. This Kappa library is a physics library. Unfortunately, it's not indexed, so I haven't used that much. But in here we have thermodynamics, all kinds of general problems. Let's just keep it simple and look at algebra. Within algebra, you have all these different topics. So let's just do Cartesian coordinate system, pretty basic topic. I don't want hard problems because I want to be able to answer them in the next part of the video. Let's just do plotting points. So you can get this down to the section in a pretty specific topic, and then you can start adding problems. So I'm going to have 26 to choose from. Sometimes you have a couple hundred to choose from. It just depends how much you narrow this down. And here are the problems that I can add. And you can see it takes a minute to display, even with that lighty addition. And that's used for equations and graphs to speed things up. It's faster than the regular HTTP server. So when you click on a graph, you can get a larger version of that. This one's not so much larger, but sometimes it pops up initially being large. Let's see. Just looking for another simple one. Okay, let's add this, and I can add as many as I want. I often will create a problem set of 10 to 15 problems for a student for some practice. In a course, in a calculus course or something, I might create sets with 30 to 40 problems. So let's call that good, and let's see. I'm going to come back to this later. There's nothing else to look at right now. I can go back to the homework sets editor, and I now have a homework set with 2 problems, and you can sort this, edit these. Let's see, I need to edit this because there's an open date and a closing date. So I want to change the opening date because I want it to be open right now. So let's make this open on a couple days ago, and it'll close on the 11th, and on the 14th of March, students can see the answers. I could make that happen right away. So if it closes on the 11th, I can let them see the problems on the 11th. And let's save that. Okay, and I'm going to log out so that I can, in the next part, I'm still going to use the admin account, but I'm going to log in as a student. So let's go back to the front page. So that's part 2. That's how you set up problem sets, and it's the library, and you can see how extensive that is and how I could use that for any course or any topic I'm tutoring within math, and also some within engineering and physics. Okay, now we're on part 3, and we're going to have a look at this from the student end of things. I created a student in this demo class. So we'll log in as a student and we'll see how this works for them. Here we are back in WebWork. And I'm going to log in directly to the course, not as course admin. And I'm going to log in as demo. And I'll be deleting all this demo stuff after the video is done. And here we have, it's open and it closes on the 11th. So that's what I set when I edited the homework set. You can email the instructor, although I don't think on this installation that'll do anything. You can go to user settings. The student can change a password, email. MathJax is how we're displaying equations right now, but it can be done with an image. Grades, you can see what the grades are and the scoring. So this would list all of the homework sets for the student. So I'm looking at all of my homework, and I have one assignment right now, demo, which we created. When you go to that, you have the actual problems. And over here, there's a list of functions and symbols. So sometimes you have, if you have a interval notation and it goes up to infinity, you have to type INF. So there are a few things you may have to look up. Usually it's pretty straightforward, but there are certain things that people get confused with on infrequently. And once they figure that out, they're good on it again. So here's problem 1. So I go to my problem and I can answer the problems. So 3, 9 is in quadrant 1. I'm just going to guess on these so we can see what happens. And I just went 1, 2, 3, 4. You can preview your answers. There's not much point to doing that on a problem like this, but when you type out expressions, what you type may not, the computer may not read it the way you intended, especially when you get into parentheses and exponents and long expressions. So when you type in an expression, you can preview it and make sure that the computer is seeing what you intended it to see. And if you find missing parentheses or something's not organized properly in the equation, you can go back and fix it. I can go back. I can submit my answers from here, or I can go, I guess I have to go back. Let's try that. Yeah, if I want to change them. And this time I'm going to submit them. And since I guessed, I got 3 incorrect. So here's the preview. In case you didn't preview it, you can now see what was wrong with your entry. There's nothing wrong with my entry here, but I got 3 things wrong. You can earn partial credit. You can set that stuff. I just left all this stuff at whatever the default is. So 7 and minus 8 would be 4. Minus 4 and 8 would be 2, and this would be 3. So let's check that. And now we have them all correct. The score was recorded. You have attempted this 2 times. You received 100% on this problem. So I can go back to the problem list and go to a different problem, or I could just go through them in order. Let's just go to next problem. And this time I do the same thing. I'm just going to guess again. I don't want to spend any time thinking about the math. And I'm not going to preview them. Let's just submit them. And they have to all be correct in this case. So it's telling me at least one of them is not correct. So I could go back and fix those. Let's go back to the problem list. And so from the student point of view, this is fairly simple. You choose your set and you go to the problems. You can change settings if you want to. That's not something you do much. And you can check your grades. Let's see what the grades say now. So I am 75% on this. I have 1.5 correct out of 2. It looks like I got a 50% on that second one. I'm not sure it told me that. Let's go back to the set and look at one other thing you can do. And you can do this as an admin or a teacher too. You can download a PDF or text, I guess, if that's even installed. PDF is generally what you would want. So I'm going to generate a hard copy, something I can print here. And here's the problem assignment in PDF. And for people that aren't online or for some reason I can't give them access to this, I have occasionally just given them a printed assignment from here. So I can hit the back button to go back here, and that's it. So I'm back to the my sets, my homework sets, and I can go all the way back to courses, and it'll show me all the courses even though I'm only in the demo course. And now it says I'm not logged in. Let's see. So now I'm logged out. And rather than log in again, let's go back to the front page. So that's it for the student end. It's got the nice feature of downloading PDF if you want to work on it at home and come back to it. You can see your score and how you're doing. You can't see any composite scores for the class if there are other students. You can just see your own score. So in the last part, we're going to look at the admin interface again, and we're going to look at some of the reporting and some of the options, and I'll mention how that you can use this for tests and quizzes, although I'm not doing that at this time. I did do that once or twice. And here we are for the fourth part. We're going to log in as admin again, and once the students are working on the problems, you can monitor their progress either as a group or as individuals. And there's some other settings and features that are useful to teachers and admins. So back to the WebWork screen, and this time I'm going to log in as an admin again. And I'm going to go to the demo course. I can go to any of my courses here, but I'm going to do that, and I'm going to log into the course as admin. Sometimes this tends to make you log in quite a few different places or times, but if it's remembered in the browser, it's not a big deal. So now I'm an admin. I have a much longer menu on the left side here. I can still generate a hard copy. I can select sets over here. If I had more than one, I could select a couple, and I could just generate a hard copy and print PDF for those. What else can I do now? Well, let's look. We already looked at the class list editor. That's where we set up the people in the class. I can delete a user, so I'm going to delete the demo user. It's an inactive student, so I'm going to delete selected users. Let's try that. And let's show all users. So now it's just me. Actually, I probably shouldn't have done that because I was going to look at the progress of the user. We have the homework sets editor. We've used that already. That's where I set the open date and the close date. You can make some editing of the problems. So here I can edit the problems. I can move them up or down or delete one problem. I can mark it correct. So I can do some things like that. We used the library browser when we built the homework set, the problem set. Let's look at the statistics. And here's the statistics by set. So this will give you statistics for all of the students that are in a problem set. And I can also do this, unfortunately, I just deleted the demo, or there'd be another student in here, but I can view the admin stats. So I didn't do anything on the admin account, so I don't have a score on this one. You would see the same thing here that we did see in the student version. If I look by student, and you can look by class for composite statistics. I can go to student progress, and again, I can do this by set. So for each student in here, it'll tell me their score out of how many problems there are. And it'll show me which problems they did and how many attempts they took. And you can limit the number of tries students have on problems. If it's homework practice, I often don't do that, but you can. And on a quiz or a test, you might want to. I can also look at an individual student's progress. And here again, I'm just seeing how that particular student did. Email. I guess you can email all your students if that's set up. And there are a couple of things down here, like the file manager. And I haven't played with this in a while. I'm not going to demonstrate this, but there are all kinds of things you can get into here, as well as in the course configuration. Some of these are only available to the admin. Some of them may be available to teachers. You could set your time zone for the course so that it's different from the server. Hard copy theme, 2 columns, or some other setting. So when we go to things like file, I think under file manager, one of the things you can do is monitor the access to this quiz. You can see who logged in and what IP they logged in. It's basically an excerpt from the server log file. And this is set up and designed so that it's possible to use this for a quiz or a test. I've done that a couple times, and we had some anomalies, let's call them, some suspicious activity. And I was able to go into the log file and establish that one student had somebody else log into their account and do the quiz for them from outside the school. And there was clear evidence of that, which meant that there was some discipline possible. Unfortunately, administrators generally don't like to deal with cheating, and they won't do anything unless they can get you to show 100% beyond all doubt that there was cheating. And we were able to do that, and that meant that there was some discipline, and actually that did make a difference. Unfortunately, when nothing is done, it only encourages more cheating. So there you can access some things that will help you establish problems and track down problems, and you can change all kinds of things in the file manager here. Okay, so that's pretty much what WebWork is. The other comment that I was going to make is that I did use this in a college pre-calculus and calculus course, and the other students were using the university's preferred system of WebAssign, which comes with a textbook and is more of a teaching program. And the students using that were in, they were working with my students in the help desk and help center. And so they were seeing both systems, and they were saying that they actually liked this system better than the WebAssign system, which the university was paying a lot of money for, actually. This is free if you can manage to install it. It's MAA produced and distributed, so there isn't any cost to the actual software. And so at least with some of the students and the more motivated students, they actually did prefer this system. So that's WebWork. That's how it works. You can see, I hope, why I like it. You can see how powerful the selection of problems is, and we'll wrap up with that and go to a conclusion. So to start out, to review, if you want to install this, you need to be comfortable in Ubuntu, if not an expert, at least comfortable. You need to get a server such as a DigitalOcean Droplet or something like that, which basically is your own full access server. And then if you want to use the Lighty edition, the smaller, lightweight, faster HTTP, you need to do that. And you're going to have to deal with the security certificates. All that's pretty standard other than the Lighty fast server. Most of it's pretty standard. Then we went into how to create a class. So an admin can create a class and make someone a teacher. Can't remember offhand if a teacher can just create their own classes. They may be able to. I may, as admin, be able to let them or not let them do that. And you can add users there manually to your class that you set up. Then we looked at adding problem sets, and that's really where you see the power of the system. Just the sheer number of problems available at this point is amazing. They all come from different universities and usually show you where they came from. And different faculty have contributed problems when they've taught classes and made their own problems or used problems and wanted to put them on here. And they've contributed them to this public collection and library. And a lot of problems from classic books like Stewart for calculus, you'll find that many of the problems from the book have now been put into the WebWork system by somebody. I'm not sure if you can search for them by textbook, but you'll find them in many of the university course selections. So there's a huge number of problems and topics to choose from. Then we looked at student access, and that part's pretty simple. They log in, they see which courses and which assignments they have. They can follow their progress, and they can see when the closing due date is, and after that they can see the solutions. And then in the last part, we looked at how the instructor or admin can follow the progress of students, either on a class basis or on an individual basis. So it's a pretty powerful system, and I really set up to use for classes, which I'm getting ready to teach. I haven't finished organizing some things yet. I'm getting ready to teach a modular physics course starting with kinematics. So there'll be a course on kinematics, and then there'll be subsequent courses on other topics that follow. I'm planning to teach a college algebra followed by pre-calculus. And I will use this for prerequisites. So if you want to be in that class, you should have prerequisite skills, and there'll be a test on here you can take to determine whether you think you really want to be in that class. Because I'm not talking about group tutoring here, I'm talking about a course. You need to have the prerequisite skills. If you're thinking about pre-calculus, you can come on here, take the prerequisite test, and if you don't do so well, you might want to think about taking algebra instead of pre-calculus. So it's useful for things like that. And because I have it set up, it's available for individuals. So I have used it for some of my tutoring students. A lot of tutoring students just want homework help with their schoolwork. They don't really need or want extra problems. But sometimes more motivated students or students that need additional practice benefit from this. So if you're interested in this in any way, let me know. If you're a student and you want problem sets set up, you just send me a topic. I'll make a problem set once I set you up an account. Like I said at the beginning, you can do that on the basis of, if you're not my student, that's okay. I'll just set it up and you can do them and see if they're right or wrong. If you need help, you can get help from a friend or another tutor or whatever you want, or you can come back to me for tutoring if you want to. But the system is available if you want to use it. So thanks for watching that. That's a very long introduction to WebWork, and it shows you everything behind the scenes. And again, part 3 was the part that and this will be indexed down below. So check out the chapters on YouTube below this, and you can go directly to part 3. Okay, so that's a resource that I have that I think is pretty unique, and I think a lot of STEM tutors, I know not many STEM students have it, and I think a lot of STEM tutors would be really hard-pressed to set up and maintain it at all. Despite tutoring STEM subjects, I'm not sure they have the tech background to do that. So that's it, and I'll see you again in the next video. Next one I'm going to make tonight or tomorrow here, we'll be back to the math video, and that one's going to be on complex numbers, I think. Yeah, I think complex numbers. I also need to do one on trigonometry and the unit circle. So we'll get back to the math, but I hope this enlightened you as to what's available and how it works.